it's Jessii Vee, and today we're going to be talking about some more creepy Christmas facts and creepy Christmas stories, specifically revolving around elves. Now, before we get started, I just want to let you guys know that because Christmas is swiftly approaching, I may take a few days off on this channel just to spend time with my friends and family, but I will be back a few days after Christmas, so don't worry. I think it's good for everybody to take a small break around this time of year and just relax and just enjoy the moment, you know what I mean? Alright, so let's get into some of the history of elves in general, and then we'll move on to how they affect Christmas. Elves were first seen in ancient Norse mythology. They were also known as the hidden folk. Elves are often thought of as little people. What's creepy is that some people actually believe that they are living among us, looking and acting like people, so you won't even know who's an elf and who's not. There's a quote that actually says, they could be your next door neighbor, your coworker, your best friend. They are learning how to blend in. Isn't that kind of a creepy thought? I mean, I've thought about that for aliens, but never elves. Medieval Europeans saw elves as dark and dangerous. They believed they would steal away a human baby and replace it with a sickly, deformed changeling. So they would literally go and steal people's babies and switch it with some other creature. Imagine waking up and your little baby Tommy has like green ears. They could also cause nightmares similar to sleep paralysis. So depending on where you look, elves are either considered to be bad or good. There's so many different opinions in history. I would say it leans more towards bad because there are more creepy legends about them. By William Shakespeare's day, elves lost many of their scary undertones. Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream, written in the 1590s, included an elf-like figure named Puck, who acted as a jokester or trickster. So after this play came out and portrayed an elf as being so funny and silly, people stopped fearing them as much as they did before. So let's see how elves became associated with Christmas. The first time people ever saw elves linked with Santa Claus in the media was in an 1823 poem called A Visit from St. Nicholas, or as you might know, The Night Before Christmas. Everybody knows that poem, right?
The night before Christmas, went all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse.
In 1922, an artist named Norman Rockwell released a painting of an exhausted Santa surrounded by tiny, industrious elves. And this was the first time people had ever seen elves and Santa in a painting together. Then, in 1932, a short movie by Disney called Santa's Workshop showed bearded, blue-clad elves singing, prepping Santa's sleigh, brushing reindeer's teeth, and helping Santa with the naughty and nice list. So that was the first movie that showed Santa and elves together. Then, in 1964, a TV show came out that we all have probably heard about. I know I watched this as a kid. It was a classic TV special called Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and in that show there was Hermie the Misfit Elf. And then obviously in 2003 the movie Elf came out, which we all love, starring Will Ferrell as a human brought up by Santa's elves who must travel to New York City to find his biological family. So elves have really become a part of pop culture, and now whenever we think of them we automatically just think of Christmas. So let's move on to a creepypasta called Mr.Elf. It's basically about this father who found this interesting device at the store one day. It was a Christmas ornament, but it had a camera inside of it. So he brought it home to his two daughters and said he was gonna put it up on the Christmas tree so he would be able to capture Santa when he comes and puts the presents under the tree. So he hung it on the tree so it would capture the whole living room perfectly, and the family went to sleep so excited because they couldn't wait to see the hidden footage of Santa the next day. So the next day they all ran downstairs. The father took the ornament off the tree, took the card out of the ornament. His kids watched in excitement and giggled as they saw Santa putting all the presents under the tree, and then they watched him climb back up the chimney and he was gone. But that's when the father noticed a mysterious box under the tree that Santa had not put there. It was wrapped in bright blue paper and it had the father's name on it. He asked his wife if she put it there, he asked his kids if they put it there, and they all said no. But one of the kids piped up and said, "Oh, Dad, that must be Mr. Elf. She pointed to the laptop where the video was still playing. So he watched the footage again, but rewound it to before Santa arrived. That's when he noticed a shadowy human shape against the wall of the living room. The shape slowly began to move towards the Christmas tree, and then quickly retreated into a corner when he saw that Santa arrived. So this dark shadowy figure was watching Santa the whole time, putting presents under the tree. And once Santa left, it walked right up to the hidden camera as if it knew it was there the whole time. It was a tall man in an elf costume. It reached out towards the ornament with the camera and suddenly turned it off. This father was obviously trying to conceal his panic in front of his children, and he decided to go open this blue present that Mr. Elf left for him. He unwrapped the box, and there, sitting inside, was the battery he had installed into the ornament the night before. So since this creepypasta was put up, Mr. Elf has kind of become a creepy thing that could happen on Christmas, so I thought that was kind of creepy. And the next thing I want to bring up is Elf on the Shelf, because we're talking about how elves are so popular nowadays, and apparently Elf on the Shelf is so popular. I'm sneezing so much lately. Now, don't kill me. But I don't really know what Elf on the Shelf is, so I'm gonna do my best to explain it through my research. If I get anything wrong, don't come for me. I don't really know what it is. Don't get me wrong, I've seen like pictures and videos and like memes of Elf on the Shelf, but I've never really known its concept and like why it's used. So apparently, Elf on the Shelf is a Christmas tradition where a special scout is sent to your home from the North Pole to encourage kids to behave themselves. The idea is that Santa's little helper watches the children by day, and each night it returns to the North Pole to report on whether they were naughty or nice. And this sweet Christmas tradition comes with rules. It says first, children are not allowed to touch the elf. Otherwise, it will lose its magic. If an elf is touched by mistake, the official Elf on the Shelf website advises children to write a letter to Santa to apologize and sprinkle a little cinnamon beside the elf before bed. Wow, they really go into depth, don't they? The second rule of Elf on the Shelf is that the elf will not speak or move while the kids are awake. The elf only moves at night when it makes its trip back to the North Pole. And then once he returns home, he goes back into the position that he was left. And I'm assuming that's how all the memes started, because this elf can be placed in the most like ridiculous locations. And that's probably where all the scary videos came from, because honestly, it is a really eerie concept. I'm surprised it was a thing that was made for children. I mean, I don't think I would want one of those things in my house as a kid, but I guess it's a genius idea to make your kids behave, you know what I mean? I'm really curious, have any of you guys had Elf on the Shelf, and what do you think about it? Let's end the video with two pretty creepy superstitions about elves. The first one is why elves have pointy shoes. This is an actual experience from someone. It says, when I was younger, probably in the first or second grade, my sister asked me, do you know why elves have pointy shoes? She said, elves have pointy shoes so they can poke out the eyes of children who see Santa Claus. The next superstition is why you can't see Santa Claus. And this is another experience from somebody, apparently. One of our cousins in her early teens told us that if we peeked and saw Santa Claus in the middle of the night, that Mr. Sandman would come throw sand in our eyes and we would go blind. Okay! A lot of these creepy Christmas traditions they go far. Obviously, most of these things are just creepypastas, so take them for what you will. But yeah, if I missed any creepy or interesting facts about elves, definitely comment them down below. But I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!